from this group? Hands up. Do we have any questions out of that group? Should they have been pretty straightforward? Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. The stuff we're going to go through and do today is going to extend it a little bit beyond. But again, as you're doing this, this listing here of checkdowns, this should be your list going down. Is there a GCF? No. Is it a fast factor? No. And you can see the examples if you just open it up and go down. By the way, did we cut this in class also or not? No. Not all the way. If you didn't, because I thought there were some of you who might not have. If you need scissors and didn't get them, see in the back corner, there's that green bin over there. If you need them and want to cut them now, you can go grab a pair and finish yours now. If you want to do it at the end of the period, I don't care when it happens. Just make sure, please, that we get that piece done. Again, if you need it now, go ahead. If you want to get it later, we can. Let's take a look. Actually, right now, let's have you do these three, as long as we're sitting here. Go through right now, please. Bang out those three at the bottom of page 3. Go through and do, I guess, A and AB. So there's 3 in total. You need to go through and check. Go through and check. So let's see if we can get those 3 done right now. So I don't know if we went over this last time or not, but we'll actually, we won't be doing it with you this year. You'll see when you take Algebra 2 next year, just in general, so we all are on the same page. You've got it, in terms of calling on you and when we have questions and stuff in here, think about, and let's see how good of a mathematician you guys are. If my job is to make sure that all of you know where we're at, see how you're doing, etc., consistently. What's the problem if I say, who can give me the answer for A? And a bunch of people throw their hands up in the air and I call on one of those people. Why might that not give me accurate results as to how you all are doing as a whole? Hands up, please, if you can tell me why. And you'll see this literally in every single class that you do. And it's a thing called confirmation bias. Why would I go through, and if I said, all right, who can give me the answer? Let's even get 6 people who give me the answer for A. And 7 hands go up, and I call on one of them, and they got it right. And I go, all right, they're all sucks. What's the problem with going through and running an entire environment that way? And some of you will realize this pretty quick. What do you want to say?
Only one person answered the question.
That's one part of it. Only one person answered the question. Take another step. She's absolutely right. One person answered the question. So is it possible I called on the one person who knows it? Yes. What else? Not everybody raised their hand.
They're raising their hand because they know it.
They're raising their hand because they know. Which, by the way, if I'm looking to try to find out how many of you know, why is it a catastrophically dumb idea for me to just call on the people with their hands up? They probably know. And they probably are, I don't want to say it in the wrong way, like boisterous about it. It tends to be that people who are a little bit quieter tend to then never raise their hand. One of the things else, let's say this, who here has been in a room for a whole year and not had to answer a question? Oh, 1, 2, okay. I'll tell you right now, when you go to college, it happens all the time. Like some of you are very good at blending in and becoming, the term is a wallflower, something you see but sort of don't notice that's there. And essentially, some of you would be great if there was like 28 wallflowers, like you existed in the room during that time but didn't have to speak at all. That's horrible for all of us. So what ends up happening is I just have a deck of cards with your names on them, and we rip through the deck of cards. And if you don't know, you just say, yeah, I don't think I know that one word. You take an attempt. Just so we're clear, are you probably going to get at least one question wrong during the year? Yes. If you get all of the questions right, you're probably in the wrong class. You're supposed to get things wrong. That means you're getting pushed and challenged and doing something outside your normal scope of ability. I don't want to ruin it. I'm really, really good at algebra 2 and geo. Because I taught it for 15 years. And even I still screw up once in a while. And I'll write something down. So please, don't freak out if you get things wrong. What we're going to have you do is, I copied your names to make sure I'm calling the right name on the card. I got to have you come up, because some of you are like, I'm Michael, and you go by Mike. Or I might have had your name in wrong or something like that. So I'll call you guys up in a minute, just so you know this is row 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll call your row up while we're working on examples independently. I'll say, hey, take a look. See if your name's up there. By the way, tell me your name, because I guess we'll do this the other day. I am in the 13th percentile for remembering names, which means out of 100 people, I remember people's names better than 13 of them. If any of you actually have ADD, I am in your boat somehow. I got diagnosed at 34 because I couldn't figure out what my cousins' names were. Somebody thought that I had a stroke. I didn't. I'm just very bad at linking names with faces. If I say the wrong name, if I pronounce it wrong, you can stab me all you want inside, just don't swear at me. And it's not intentional. I'm not trying to slight you in any way. I'm just bad at names. And by the way, if there's people that have multiple, is there anybody who knows right now you share the name with someone? What's your name?
Lucas.
Lucas? We have another Lucas? Kind of? Okay. Here's the thing. Like 1 year, apparently Madison was a very popular name about 3 years ago. Because I had 4 Madisons in the same class, and 3 of them sat next to each other. So it was literally Madison 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's not because it's the self-worth right there. Better way than that. So we'll have you come up, though, as we're doing them. So please be aware that when we call you up, that's the only thing you got to go through. How about for A? Hands up, please, when you can tell me. What's our first example going to factor down to? And see again, why is this confirmation bias? All of these people, I'm going to guess, probably have it right. I'm going out on a limb. What do you want to say?
X plus 7 and X minus 5.
There we go. First one up, the quantity X plus 7 times the quantity X minus 5. Those numbers add to and multiply to. That should be a pattern from before. How about, please, hands up for the second letter A. What do you want to say? Outstanding. And how about our letter B? Yep.
W plus 8, W plus 4.
Do we have questions on that? All right. Next set that we're going to go through and do. I love example 2. Take a look at what's there in example 2. It fits the same pattern that all the ones on the first page did. Hands up, please, when you can tell me what you think example 2 is going to. Oh, did we do this one? Yeah. Sorry, doesn't factor down. Thank you for those of you who saw it. Congrats, by the way, we were working with some kids the other day who were going, hey, wait a minute. I got one that doesn't factor down. And guess what? That happens. That's fine. Not everything factors down. You've got to attempt it. And if you're asked to, probably it does. It's not set in stone. Let's start off then. Let's go over, please, to let's try out example. Yeah, let's try out example 9 on page 5. So slide over, please, to page 5. Look at example 9. And hands up, please, when you can tell me what we would want to do to get started. On example 9, now look at your list. I'm not asking for final answer. I'm saying as you see it, what do you see? Your job is to factor this down, break it down into a series of products, which are multiplication, instead of a bunch of sums. Because why is this hard to figure out when it's equal to 0 to? Because there's adding and subtracting them. If I wanted to make that equal to 0, the easy way to do it is to make it multiplication, because 0 times anything is 0. That's why we factor. What type of factoring would we do in the beginning to break this down into some multiplication? And what do you want to take out? What's your GCF? Now, when you go through and do that, you're saying take out an 8y. So if you factor out an 8y, please tell me the trinomial we would have left.
It'd be 2y squared.
Keep going.
Plus 3y squared minus 2.
Close. You said 3y squared there. Remember, you took out one of those y's in your GCF. Okay? Do we have any questions on getting to here? Now, look at that remaining trinomial. we've only got one factor pattern that this could be. Hands up if you can tell me. If it does break down, it would be this trinomial here that factors down further. What type of factoring would we look to do on that? We don't know if it'll work or not. But what type of factoring would we look to do on 2y squared plus 3y plus 2? What type does it fit out of our listing? 1, 2 of us? Just take a look at your sheet if you don't see it and open them up and say, oh, this one matches what we had before. Which one does this look like? It's not a table ornament. Look through it. Yeah, what do you want to say? What's that? I would say this isn't fast factor. Why would this one not be a fast factor? It's close. You can tell me why this one wouldn't be a fast factor, you know?
Nothing multiplies.
Well, close. Yeah, in the beginning here, this coefficient other than 1 means it's not a fast factor. It's going to be one that we do by guess and check. Now, we talked about it last time we had class, and some of you indicated that you've gone through and done something like this before. We'll have you. Now, what your job is going to be is to try to figure out what can give me this. Keep in mind, you need an 8y in front. We're kind of lucky. What values have to go in these lead positions here? Hands up, please, if you can tell me. There's only one possible filler for those yellow positions. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what do you want to say? 2y and y. That's great because it needs to give me 2y squared. Now, here's the part where you're going to show some math aptitude. We need numbers here that are going to multiply to -2. And by the way, you're happy to see a 2 there. Why are we happy to see a 2 there? Prime. So we've only got one set of factors, about a 1 and a 2, and we need to figure out what goes where, and one's negative. But when we FOIL it out, we need to get back the original. Go through right now on your own, and we'll wait to see. We'll wait for 6 of us that can go through and get this factored. You're going to take an attempt, put something in there, then do the FOIL and see if it gives us the line from above. I'm going to have the first row slide over, please. First row, come on up so we can just go over your names quick and see if we're good. The rest of us keep going. Are you Brian? Can you go by Brian?
Yep.
All right, great. What's your name, bud? Matthew. Did you go by Matthew? Or Matt? Okay. Matthew? Great, thank you. And Ben? You just go by Ben?
Yeah.
Okay. Lucas. All right. Can you go by Lucas? Okay. Yep, I think I got you down. Mackenzie. Can you go by Mackenzie?
Yep.
Now, do I have this right? M-A-C-K-E-N S-I-E? Or
Yep.
is it? Okay, thank you. All right. Now, when we go through and do this, how many of us have what this factorization would become? We need numbers in here that are going to multiply to -2, but then when you do the FOIL out, we've got to get a +3. See what those numbers will be. So I know it does factor. We've only got 2 who can see it, 3. We're getting there. We're going to wait for 7 of us, so keep trying until we get 7. 4 of us, thank you. 5. 6. 7. You have to make the attempt, though. See if it works or if it doesn't. So it's 6. What would you like to say?
I got 2y minus 1, y plus 2.
So when we FOIL this out, what are the first terms going to give you? Are the 2 yellows?
2y squared.
Great. Outside terms give you what? These yellow blue?
4y.
Great. Inside terms?
-y.
And then last terms?
-2.
Does that match what we wanted it to be? Did you do it right? How many tries did it take? 2. There you go. I mean, we got to be able to get there. That's it. Questions on that one? Okay. We'll skip over one of those harder ones. Let's have us, and actually some of these get to be a little bit interesting, but do me a, we'll go page next. Yeah. Go over, please, to page 7. Go over, please, to page 7. I think we got that first group done, right?
Yeah.
And we even did that A, the one where you had to do difference of perfect squares twice. Is that right? The last one we did? We did that twice, right? Now, this was one that showed up, well, we got some difference of cubes. Yeah. Go through, let's try out, what page is this? Slide over, guys, to page 8. And let's try, on your own right now, let's see if you can do these first 4. So, these 4 from here to here. There's 4 there to go through and get done. Can we get the second row to come on up? So we can make sure we got your names right. What's your name, bud?
Danny?
All right, where are you on here? You go by Danny?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Hello.
Ella, this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Marasa? This? M-A-R-A. Perfect. Thank you.
Brennan?
Brennan, are you here? Is that, you go by Brennan?
Yeah.
Okay. Jonathan here?
Yeah, I go by Johnny.
Johnny, J-O-N-N-Y or
Yeah.
H? Thank you.
Yeah.
Jaden, you go by Jaden? Okay, thank you. All right, let's take a look at 7. Hands up, please, if you can tell me for 7. What is that going to factor down into? What 2 binomials do we want to break it down to? Go ahead. No. Close. He said P plus 8 and P minus 8. He's got the concept. Well, there you go. Make sure, please, as you list this out, it's a difference of squares, so you've got to take the square root. How about, please, for question 8, hands up when you can give us what 8 would become?
8 plus 3 minus 3.
Great. How about for 10? Hands up, please, when you can tell me what we think for 10. We've only got 4. Any more than that? What do you want to say? There you go. Okay. Now, 11 is going to be a little bit more awkward. Take a look. What is the first thing you should be inclined to do in 11? And this shows if you are retaining what we said in the beginning. If you need help, go through and look at what we listed out before. We'll wait for 8 of us that can tell us what our first step would be in question 11. So far, I've got 1 person. 2 of us, 3, 4, 5. Take a look at what's there. We're waiting for 11 of you, so that's over. It's probably half the group. We're up at 5 so far. 6. What's the first thing I would do in question 11? We're at 6. You got to do something. Take a look at your list if you need and see which of these are possible. We can stare and wait, but go from the top down. That's how we would go through and check this guy out. 4, 5, 6 of us still. What do you want to say? Not guess and check, but close. She saw that, by the way. Why is this a candidate for guess and check? Because as you're doing it, the first term is squared. There's no 1 in front. I say it's a candidate, but this one doesn't fit because it's got to be a 3 terms for guess and check. What's your GCF? There you go. So when you take a 2 out, that leaves you with what? Can you tell us what you get when you do that?
9 and 49.
Careful. 9a squared and the 49b squared. But yes, its coefficients were right. And I'm still not done. Why should you be glad to see that? Yeah?
It's like prime. It's
Uh,
not prime, but you can do, they're squares, so you can do 3 and 3 and 7.
There you go. So please tell me what 2 binomials you're going to want to break this up into. You tell me.
3a plus 7b, 3a minus 7b.
There we go. That's where you all need to be. With that in mind now, put those next to a try. They're, by the way, going to be strikingly similar to, you did one before, hang on before I tell you. Go back, if you get stuck, look at question E also on the last page. We did one like it before when it was x to the 4th. Can I get the third row to come on up, please? What's your name? What's your name? Okay, you go by Amelia?
Mia.
Mia? M-I-A? Is that right? Okay, thank you. You're Alex, this one? You go by Alex? Okay, thank you.
Lauren?
Lauren, you're this one here?
Yes.
Okay, go by Lauren?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ellie. I don't think I'm on here.
Oh, you got, I think I need to add you too, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you, what's your E-L-L-I-E?
Yeah.
And last name?
Ellen.
A-L-L-E-N?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nick.
Nick, this one?
Yeah.
You go by Nick, N-A-C-K?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, M-A-Y-A?
Yep.
You go by Maya?
Yep.
Okay.
Anthony.
Anthony? And you go by Anthony?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Take a look, please, at question 13. Hands up if you can tell me what you want to do to start off question 13. Because 13 is a little bit awkward as well. I look at 13, though. I see a way I can start it off, and I would be able to start this step on day 1. What do you want to say? What is your GCF, please? Now, if you don't do this out, you'll have to do it later on. So, we took out a 4. Can you tell me, please, what's left after you factor the 4 out? You're right. Okay, I'm not done here. Who can tell me why I can keep going on? I am not done just yet. And? So what do you want to break it up into?
I did y squared or m squared.
Now, I'm going to pause. You put your y squared second. Or sorry, you put them first, it sounded like, from your answers there. They
What's
should.
the negative?
Oh, hang on. Let me see how you wrote it. Now, if you put a negative in front of one of those, it's okay. But, yeah, I wouldn't. They should sort of be in order. So put the 4m squared in that first spot. Okay, so this wasn't wrong. What is this first position going to be? Well, what's the square root of that? It should be, yeah, 4m squared. And we've got 4m squared plus y squared and 4m squared minus y squared. Why am I not done yet even? You're probably sick of this question, which is why it's so good. Take a look at what's there. I'm not done yet. Not even close. Hands up, please, if you can tell me. What more can I still do that's on there? We got 4, 5, 6, 7. We're getting there.
You can kind of, there's still square.
Which part can you break down? Which term?
The left.
This one here is the guy that we can factor down because this is the only one that's a difference. This comes out to be 4m squared plus y squared. And then over here, this is 2m plus y and 2m minus y. But you've got to always be on the lookout. Don't stop. As you see these, it will require you to go a little bit further sometimes. But again, you can get there. It's not that tough for us to do. Here's a, let's do, these are some indifference. Cube ones, squares. So, if you go, please, to the last page of the packet, I'll say all the way to the last page. We're actually going to end on that enriched one that's there. Go to page 10. And what we're going to start to do, I'll tell you this. I think if we're looking for a good sampling of what's going on, the left column there, that leftist column, the 1, all the way down to 53. My advice for you is to go through, we'll get started on some of them now in class, Whatever we don't get through to out of that group, I advise you to go through and work on tonight. Because you need to know how to do these factors. They need to be automatic, almost second nature. A lot of the questions that we're going to go through and work on and the geometric concepts that you're working with, in an enriched group, you need to see what the math, like actually hard algebra, because when you get to Algebra 2 next year, sometimes it can be kind of like an algebra vacation in geometry, and then you get to Algebra 2 and you're like, oh my God, this is actually being really hard and I didn't do this for a full year. We don't want that at all. And again, if you're here, the goal is for us to sort of push you as far as we can, and you're not here to do the simplest solve a linear equation for the 85th time. We should be able to hopefully rip through it pretty fast. Let's start off, and I'll say this. Let's have you all right now on your own. Let's have you do those 7. And there's space at the bottom of your sheet, at the bottom of page 10. If you want, take out a piece of loose leaf paper. Some of you I know, I need space, or I write big, or I don't like when you make us write in the packets. Whatever it is, your job right now is to get those, is it 7 or 6? 7 done. And I'm going to call up row 4, but make sure, please, use your check down list if you need it. And if you want paper, just so you know, also, loose leaf paper, I've got a ton. See that little pink sorter on the side there? Right underneath it, right underneath where you get your calc, there's always paper for you to use as well. But go through right now, please get those 7-ish questions done. And while they're working, can I get the 4th row to come on up, please? So what's your name?
Stephanie?
And you go by, is this it, Stephanie here?
Yep.
And what do you go by, Stephanie?
Stephanie or Steph.
Which one do you want? It's a full year. What do you want to get called?
Steph.
Okay, thank you. Luke? Okay, I'll go by Luke then? Okay. Cameron? Okay. Go by Cameron? Cam? Okay. Thank you, bud. Dale? You go by Dale? Yes. Perfect, thank you.
Aaron.
Aaron, and you go by Aaron? Thank you. You go by Jordan? Okay.
Taylor.
Taylor? Wait a minute. Are you on here? Okay. What's your last name, honey?
Holmes Math. HOMSOM. WATH.
WATH? Good. You go by Taylor? Thank you. All right. Get going on these, please, if you're not done. Get these done on your own, please. And if you finish those, by the way, you just keep going on, because we're going to keep going right after these ones are done. So keep going if you do finish them. So let's start. And hands up, please, when we can get one for number 1. You've got, what is it, 3x squared minus 12x? Hands up, please, when we can see what that would break down to be. We got 4, 5, 6. Yeah, what do you want to say? Boy, that looks like a difference of perfect squares in there, is it? Hands up, please, when you can tell me why we don't say that x minus 4 is a difference of perfect squares, because it looks pretty much identical to the one that we've already got. Yeah, the x isn't a perfect square. If it was x squared, you'd be great, but unfortunately for us, it's not. Let's keep going. I guess the other grouping there, most of those are GCFs. There's a GCF in 4. You could take out a, 3y squared. And if you do that, take out your 3y squared, it will leave you with what, 3y plus 1? Is that right? 7, hands up please when you can tell me what 7 is going to factor to. Go ahead, what do you want to say? Perfect. How about 10? That's k plus 7, k minus. How about 10? What type of factoring are we doing in 10? Take a look at that list. Hands up please. What type would you say? Fast factoring. You can tell us what 10 would factor down into. Go ahead. So when we do that, sometimes you're going to see it with parentheses and squared around it. Okay? That's right, though. You said x plus 5 twice. How about 4, 13? Hands up when you can tell me 13. Go ahead. There you go. How about 4? Question 16. There you go, x plus 6 and x minus 4. How about 19? 19 is one of the tougher ones. This one's going to be a guess and check. You've got 2k squared minus 7k and then plus 6. Even though it might look dreadful to have this 6 at the end, maybe it's not that bad. I'm going to show you a little bit of a hint. But who's got it all the way? How many of us were able to get over that hurdle there? We got 1, 2, 3 of us that can give it out. And let's say this, since only 3 of us can give it out, how many of us can tell us what's going in the first positions? Hands up, please, when you can tell me what's going in those lead spots. 2k and k, because that's the only way I can get 2k squared. Now, at the end here, I need numbers that multiply to positive 6. So in there, we could put a 1 and a 6 or a 3 and a 2. And since it's positive, they got to have the same sign. Which sign do you think you want to have? Do you want the 2 terms to be positive, or do you want them to be negative and y? Why would you, I guess, what guess would you make?
Negative, because the middle number is a negative, and 2 negatives multiplied by each other.
So did you get what these are at the end? What do you got?
3.
3 goes here and 2 goes here. When we do this out, first terms give me 2k squared. The outside terms give me a negative 4k. Inside is negative 3k. Those come together to give you the negative 7 that you were looking for up above. So that works. Do we have questions on that? Outstanding. Then let's please keep going. Work your way down that column because, again, actually, I'll tell you this. I'm sorry. I'll tell you this. Omit 37. You haven't done those exponent rules yet, or at least in a little bit. So go through right now. Please get the rest of those done. Another minute or two. We'll come back, maybe get the next 5 or so done. These are starting to, by the way, have a couple of types of factoring, meaning you got to do more than just one. So let's do this. Let's take a look, please, at 22 and so for 22, let's see, Anthony R., what would you go through and do for 22? Which can you give me one that you got done then? You get any more past this one? Oh, you went over to the other side? Okay. Who's got 22 done for us, please? Yep. There you go. You had another difference of perfect squares hidden in there. Lucas C. Can you give us 25? Mm-hmm. What would you do to start 25? Great, and what are you left with? Perfect. Can you keep going after that? Perfect. So what's that going to be?
So 7,
Close. Plus and minus. Mixed signs because it's a difference of squares. But that's right. You got the GCF in the beginning, 2 squares after that. How about, please, for 28? For 28, you can tell us what we would start off with for 28. What do you want to say?
4C.
Now, we can take out a GCF of 4C, and what's that going to leave you with? What kind of factoring is that going to be that you've got after that?
Sensor squares. Minus 3.
3x. And then what would the other one be? There you go. Now, I'll tell you this. For homework tonight, you know what I'd advise us to do? Let's try this. We'll get you to do these 3 here. Let's have you do 49, 50, and 53. And let's actually see if we can do this. Remember how we did the ones over there? Do this group going down 3, 6, 9, 12, etc. So there's like 10-ish questions there we went over before. You can check them at any time. You can even type them into Wolfram Alpha. It's a website. You go type in factor. It'll break it down for you. See if you got it right. Okay? But make sure, please, you know how to go through and do those. Next time we have class, we're actually starting on some GL stuff finally. But we need to make sure you've got a good, solid base to work off of. Okay? So make sure, please, that gets done. And as we leave today, by the way, make sure your calcs get put away and pushed in. There's Taylor, Aaron. There's Aaron, Jordan. Okay. Ellie. Ellie, were you able to log in today?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to add you to the class for next time, okay? Thank you. Have a great day, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.